9 years ago, Kevin Schreiber, who was then our state representative, and Aquina Washington, who's now our board president, then she wasn't, Shavosky Buffalo, who used to be in charge of the Director of Economic Development for the City of York, and I feel like I'm missing somebody. Nope, myself and Principal Fitch, who is now at a York City school as a principal. They came and asked if we would go and possibly consider building a garden. And we had looked at the lot across from the Sam Square Library, and eventually we ended up at Hope Street, but I didn't grow up on the West End, so I didn't know that was Hope Street. I just knew it was a big green lot, and I, of course, said no, because this was about October, and because I just knew it was first off, it was too big, and I still think it's too big for students, but we're growing into it slowly. And but they were really insistent. Shavosky sent me an email just about every 2 weeks, and he never put the name. He's like, "Where are you at with the garden? Where are you at with the garden?" I'm like, I told you I don't really want to do it, but they were pretty confident I could do, and I said, well, this would never be a one school project. It's too big. No school would want to take on the liability. So prior to that, I built these garden boxes, and I always say to people, you get pieces before you get a purpose. So this gentleman wanted to come from Grace Fellowship, and they wanted to do a build project with the kids, and they wanted to do cutting boards. This is prior to them even asking me about the garden. And I said, well, why in the world would we ever make cutting boards? We don't even have fruits and vegetables. That's just not even something our children have. No, we're not doing that. And I said, I really would like these garden boxes. Well, I didn't even have a garden, but I was insistent that I needed these garden boxes 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. And I don't know why I thought that was the size. I had never measured them. I didn't look it up, but that's what I thought they should be. And the guy said, well, we don't have any money. And I said, well, I don't have any money either. I said, well, see if you can do it. If you can figure out a way to make these garden boxes, I need 10 of them. Then yeah, you can come and we'll put it in our summer program. But if you can't, then we just can't do the work this year. Well, a few days or weeks passed, and they called me back and said, hey, we got this wood. We can make these garden boxes. I'm saying, okay. Now we haven't even built the playground yet. So this is way before we're doing anything. So they build the boxes, and we put them out here on the playground and the mulch. We don't do anything with these boxes for a whole year. Now we've built the playground. It's the playground build day, and 100 people have shown up. But if you've ever built a playground, you don't need 100 people. You need like 10 because the pole's already in. It's like adult kind of work. But either way, we had kids from your college. We had Crispus Attucks kids here. Helen Thaxton students were here. New Hope students were here. Lincoln kids were here. I think Wellspan was here, American Health Mercy was here. So all these different organizations were here, and I had to figure out something for them to do, because if they've come to help you, you can't not have anything to do. So I call Wendell, and I say to Wendell, what kind of paint do we have in the basement? Because at this point, the boxes look horrible. They're growing weeds, and they've never been painted. So they look pretty gray at this point. And Wendell's like, I don't know, but I'll go look. So Wendell brings up 20 different colors of paint. And just by chance, it was the right colors. Either way, I say to all the different organizations, paint one of these garden boxes with your logo and your name. And stuff. So that was a piece. The building the boxes was a piece. Having these partners paint them was a piece. It wasn't the purpose yet. And so now go 4 months ahead. Now they asked me to build a garden. And I still don't make this connection yet. So I say no. But the month of December, Lincoln Charter School celebrates our core value of hope. And anybody who knows me knows that that's a pretty big deal, because we have the Messages of Hope, right? 2 books of that, The Journey of Hope, which I wrote. And it's just in everything. It's in this garden that I built that I didn't even know that it was named Hope Street. So that year I was extra, and anybody who knows me knows the year that I'm extra. So I'm like, hope is in action. It's not a word. And the kindergartners, everybody's out. It's the worst snow that we've had in years. Everything's slushy. And all 700 children and their teachers are out doing projects throughout the West End, walking there because, again, we still have no money for buses, So I was really proud of it. We did a Hope video, right? And the first email I get of the new year is from Shavosky Buffalo, and it's the first time it says Hope Street Garden and Learning Lab. And right then, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta build this garden. That instant, I knew that I had to do it, and I was chosen to do it, and I didn't want to do it. But I email him back, and I say, okay, I'll do it. And he's like, I'm coming there right now, so you can't change your mind. So he comes over, and he says, well, what do you think? And I said, well, listen, Shavosky, the truth is I'm going to need all the other schools to participate because Lincoln can't do this by itself, even though Lincoln has done most of it by itself. But I said, Lincoln can't do it by itself, but I'm going to need to call the other schools and see if they're even willing to. So later on that evening, the same day, this is January 4th, right? I go to, the Yorktown has sort of like these meet and greets, and I'm down there, and this lady doesn't know who I work for, and she says, let me tell you what Lincoln Charter School's doing it. And she's not saying it like really in a positive way. She's sort of saying it in like, yeah, right kind of way. And she says, they're building this garden with all the other schools. Now, any of us who live or from York, you cannot say somebody is helping you do something without asking them first. So I'm in terror. I'm like, this is going to be out. The other schools are going to think that I spoke for them. I didn't even talk to them yet. And so the next day, I mean, this is late. This is like 8 o'clock at night. I'm not calling anybody then. So the next day I realized that I got a very short window to call all the other leaders of the school, of the different schools. And so the next day I wake up, this is on my agenda, and here I realize that I have every cell phone number of every leader of every school in York, Pennsylvania, York City. And I never thought of it in that context. So I call, of course, Thaxton says yes right away. New Hope said yes right away. Logos said yes right away. And then I have to call York City School District. Now, this is, a lot of people might not know that Lincoln was in court battles for 7 years to become a charter school. And we were running as a charter school, but we kept having to go back and fight. It went the whole way to the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. And really, we're one of the first charter schools in the nation. We're the first conversion school in Pennsylvania. So the relationship with us in York City School District at this point was still very tumultuous. It is year 12. But, when you've been battling somebody for so long, there's no relationship really. And really, at that point, we had no relationship with York City at all. But I had a relationship with Dr. Wortham, and I guess she probably knew she was leaving soon. But either way, I called her on her cell phone, and I still have to apologize to Mindy because Mindy's the secretary down there for the superintendent. And anytime somebody calls your boss outside of the channel is very disrespectful to the person who holds that door, and I do know that. But I called, I texted Dr. Wortham, and I said, I really have to see you today. It's really like an emergency. It's a hope emergency. And I get down there, and Mindy's sort of like, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Mindy, because, I do know the protocol. You should always call the person who you should call to get to the person you need to, but this was an emergency. So at that point, me and Dr. Wortham had been meeting for months, just talking about education and children and just York and how difficult it can be here to do work. And I say, I got this idea. Would you be willing to do it? You don't even have to come. You just got to let me use the York City School District's name as a partner. And she said, oh, no, we'll come. We'll participate. I'm going to get one of the other assistant soups to do it. We're in. Well, this was huge. This wasn't just huge for Hope Street. This was huge. This was the first step of really healing some of York City's woes, and really start to bring the schools together for the good of children. And understanding that they're all our children. The Logos children are Lincoln's children. The Lincoln children are Logos children. And the York City children or Lincoln's children. We're all in education, and these children need a lot of help. Our students need a lot of support, and they end up back there. So I'm pretty excited, right? I've gone from I don't want to do this project, it's too big, to in really less than 24 hours, going from the concept, the idea of, okay, I'm going to do it, to really having this huge momentum that everybody agreed. And that's really has been the story of Hope Street. It really is a story of hope, and it's so cliche, but it's true. And everything has come along that way. It slowly has become this thing. Then we wanted to build the classroom. They said we couldn't do it because it's a permit structure, but then the RDA approved us doing it. We're getting ready to take a big step again with this aquaponics classroom, and I'm under attack again. The garden's under attack again. It's 9 years later, and I'm still trying to convince people what a learning lab is, and they want to know why it's not like this garden. Well, it's not really a garden, it's a learning lab. We do grow some food, but we're not trying to sell the food. We would give it to anybody who's willing to pick it. If a child picks it, they get to keep it. If a person's walking down and we're there and they want to pick it, they can keep it. So, and that's been hard to really get people to understand. And it's a cutting edge idea for York. It's not a cutting edge idea. In California, every school has an outdoor learning lab. Oregon has huge, outdoor learning. So it's not a huge idea for the country or even outside of our country. In India, they're teaching on the subway platforms. I mean, they believe a classroom is anywhere that they can find something to write on. So it's really our slow thinking sometimes that really hinders us. And, they're only going to be little once. And if we don't give them this education now, when would they get it? I mean, really, honestly, when would an urban child, an urban student ever have this opportunity if it wasn't for this learning lab to plant something?